All right, guys, in this video, what we're going to do is again simplify the following. The last video that I did, we did about 3 different radicals where we have to rationalize the denominator. Some of these will have to, but some of them don't have denominators, right? There's a couple that do, and we'll rationalize those, but the other ones, we'll just kind of try to figure it out as we go. Okay, and I'm not going to even do this with a calculator even. So let's see if we can try it. So the first one, this says the square root of 48. All right, this is not simplified because I know that there is a square number that goes into 48, which is 16. All right, so I could rewrite this as saying the square root of 16 times the square root of 3. 3 times 16 is 48. And then the square root of 16 is 4. So I'm going to rewrite this as 4 square roots of 3. And now since 3 can't be simplified anymore, that one is done. 4 square roots of 3. How about 4 square roots of 24? Same idea. What's a square number that goes into 24? And I know 4 goes into 24, right? So I could rewrite this as the 4 from out front times the square root of 4 times the square root of, well, 4 times what is 24? 4 times 6. And then again, the square root of 4 is 2. So now this is 4 times 2 times the square root of 6. And of course, 4 times 2 on the outside is 8. So this is 8 square roots of 6 is how that simplifies. What about this one? This is 10 square roots of 500. Right? Anything that ends in a 100 is nice because I know this is going to be like 5 times 100. So if I replace this with 10 times the square root of 5 times the square root of 100, now that square root of 100 could also just become 10. Now I have 10 from the front times the square root of 5. Try that again. Times the square root of 5 times square root of 100 is 10 without a square root. And then they have this 10 and 10 on the outside with no square roots. 10 times 10 is 100. So this is actually 100 square roots of my leftover 5 inside the square root. Okay. Number 4 is one where we will have to rationalize our denominator. And remember, we multiply it times that square root that's on the bottom over itself. Okay. And when I do that, on top I get the square root of 6. On the bottom, I get 4 times just 2. Square root of 2 times square root of 2 is square root of 4. Square root of 4 is 2. So this will give me 4 times 2 on the bottom, or square root of 6 over 8. The next one I have to rationalize again. And this one I'm going to multiply times the square root of 3 over itself. That's my square root that was on the bottom. And once you do this, make sure that you multiply straight across the top and straight across the bottom to give me the square root of 18 over 3 times 3. 3 times 3. All right, this can be simplified in a couple more ways. First off, the square root of 18 is actually the same thing as the square root of 9 times the square root of 2. The square root of 9 is a square root that I can simplify. And on the bottom, of course, 3 times 3. I'm actually going to leave that, and I'll show you why. We could write 9 for to get us closer, but I think it'll make more sense here in a second. Because on top, the square root of 9 is 3. So if I go 3 times the square root of 2 over 3 times 3, now one of those 3's on top and bottom can cancel, leaving me with just square root of 2 over 3. I'll write it over here for you, square root of 2 over 3. Okay, and in all of these, you want to make sure that when you finish, there's no square roots in the bottom. That's going to be one indication that you did it correctly. All right, last one, number 6. Here I have what I call the outsides, 2 and 8, and the insides, 6 and 3. And you can multiply those outsides together to give you 16, 2 times 8. And the insides you can also multiply together to give you 18. But notice you cannot multiply like an inside and an outside, or an outside and an inside. That does not work. Okay, this 18 again simplifies. I think we actually did it in the last problem to be a square root of 9 and a square root of 2. So I'm going to write it down here: 16 times the square root of 9 times the square root of 2, which is just 16 times 3 times the square root of 2. 16 times 3 is 48. Right over here for you. 48 times the square root of 2 is what that simplifies to be. So now they should all be simplified.